You can definitely hand mix a dough. In fact, I think your hands are your best tools. So you don't need a food processor, you don't even need a pastry blender. However, if you don't want to get your fingertips dirty, you can absolutely use a pastry blender. So really any pie recipe that you have, pie crust recipe that you have, should work just fine with this method. I happen to prefer all butter, so I'm going to show you how to make an all butter flaky pie crust today. So to start, it's great to have everything really chilled. That includes your flour and your butter. Your butter needs to be really, really cold. But for the flour, I'm using all-purpose flour. I'm going to add that as 1.5 cups to my bowl. And to that, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar and just a pinch of salt. So I'm going to stir this up. Now I'm going to add my butter. If you can see here, it's very small. It's about 3/4 of an inch or so. You just want to make sure that it's really cold. That will make sure you have a flaky and tender crust. So I'm just going to coat the butter here with flour. And then I'm going to get my hands dirty. I'm even going to take off my wedding ring for that. Okay, so this is the part about using your hands. I'm going to create little fat pockets. I'm smearing the butter with the flour, just creating little flakes of fat. Now this process takes a few minutes. So I'm just going to continue making flakes, and I'll show you a little smear. I don't know if you can see that. Just press it into that flour, making flakes. And the idea here is to get it all incorporated. It'll actually look really kind of shaggy when it's all done. There we go. See, no equipment needed, just your hands. Okay, smear these in. So this is about halfway done. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth the effort. And I can feel that the butter is still really cold, but it's smearing into the flour really well. So we're getting there. There's a few more pieces that need to be smeared in here. Okay, I've got quite a few flakes in here. I want to get it just a little bit more incorporated. Then I'm going to add the ice water. So for this recipe, you need about 3 tablespoons of ice water. And you don't want to add too much more than that. So start with 3, and then you can slowly add more water if needed. Okay, so this is pretty close. So I feel comfortable enough that I will start to add some water. So hopefully you can see it's a little bit shaggy in there. Okay. So now I'm going to add the water. And you can see I've got a little ice cube floating in here. I wanted it really cold. So I've added 3 tablespoons. I'm just going to stir this with a spatula to begin with, just to get it all nice and incorporated. And I can kind of tell, I think I'm going to need 1 more tablespoon. But to tell if it needs more water or not, all you need to do is hold some together and just see if it sticks together. And it kind of does, but you know what? It needs a little bit more water. We're close. So I'm just going to add 1 more tablespoon. That should do it. Make sure it's all incorporated. Then I'll test it one last time. Okay, that's done. See, it's holding together as a dough. That's what you want. So I'm going to try to form this into a ball in here. The idea is just to kind of get it all gathered together. And one tip that I like to do, just to make it come out easily, is I'm going to take some plastic wrap, and I'm going to add that inside the bowl. And this is going to help me kind of gather it into a ball. There's a little bit in there, but that's okay. So I'm just going to use this to form it into a ball, and then I'm going to flatten it into a disc. So just very carefully pressing it into a disc. So this needs to chill for about 1 hour, and that's really it. I have one that has already been made, and I will show you what it looks like after it's been chilled. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more flour so it doesn't stick onto my board here. Okay, so here's one that was made earlier. And I want you to be able to see, I'll roll this out and you can probably see more, but there's little flecks of butter in here. And these are going to create nice little steam pockets. This is what's going to create the most tender and flaky crust. Okay, so now I'm going to roll this out. You want to roll it out to about 13 to 14 inches in diameter. Make sure that your rolling pin is nice and floured too. You see I'm kind of rotating sides just so I can make sure that it is even when it rolls out. So hopefully you can see a little bit of the pockets of butter in here. So once this is out to the correct diameter, you really want to make sure it's also about 1/8 of an inch in thickness. You can transfer it to your pie plate. And really that's it. And you didn't really have to dirty up your food processor. So we're almost there. Add a little bit more flour to this. See, couldn't be any easier. Thank you.